Hey, my name's Pastor Chris Tress, and I am so glad you're here. I don't know how you arrived here, but I'd love to share with you a little bit about my life. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything in your life that's stopping you from surrendering your life completely to God? You see, that was the one question that always stopped me from giving my life to Jesus. I grew up and my mom, she took me to church and I accepted Jesus into my heart. I found out that he would forgive me of my sins and so I asked him to come into my heart as a young child. And that relationship grew, it was real. But in 8th grade, I'll never forget this, I was riding my bicycle home one day and I saw some pornographic magazines on the side of the road and I decided to pick them up and put them in my backpack. As I took them home and looked at them, all of a sudden what came over me was guilt, condemnation, shame, even a voice like, you can't talk to God anymore, you hypocrite. What is wrong with you? God doesn't want to talk to you. And that kind of mindset really ruined my life for the next 10 years. While I had this secret addiction, I was still going to church, but I wasn't being fake or anything. The pastor would call and he would say, hey, are you ready to give your life to Jesus? And I would say, no, I'm not ready yet, because I had this secret thing on the inside of me that I didn't want to share anyone. So I just said, I'm not ready. And I just want to fast forward right now to college days. I'm playing college basketball, which was a lifelong dream of mine. I put a lot of energy and effort into basketball because it gave me identity, but I broke a bone in my foot called the sesamoid bone. And at the end of the season, that bone had to be taken out of my foot. In order to do that, they cut tendons and the doctor told me my basketball career was over. Man, that was a big blow to my life. A few months later, I got hit while driving a car by an uninsured motorist and I lost my car. It was totaled. So now here I am, I'm riding a bicycle to school. A few months later, I'm sitting in class at college, a knock comes on the door, hey, is Chris Tress there? So I get up, I go outside, there's a bunch of police officers, and they throw me up against the wall. And they said, you are under arrest, assault with a deadly weapon, you're facing 3 to 5 years in prison. And so I went to jail that day. I got out, but what was looming over my head was a decision by a jury because I pleaded not guilty, but if the jury chose wrong, that would ruin my teaching career, it would ruin my basketball career, and my life, I felt like, was on the balance of what I wanted to do. So I plugged back in and I started coaching basketball again, but the coach that I worked for as the college basketball coach, he got arrested, he lost his job, and I lost my job. That was completely demoralizing because that was my track record for success. The girlfriend that I had been dating for 4 years, I'd been cheating on her, but guess what? I found out she was cheating on me. It absolutely broke my heart because I wanted to marry this girl, even though I wasn't being honest with her with how I was living. And so that was a devastating thing as well. I decided to go back to church, and at church I met this pastor and he was really nice. We went to a men's retreat, I connected with him, but a few weeks later he got arrested for soliciting a prostitute and he lost his job. And I sat there and I'm just looking at my life and I said, man, if this pastor can't do this, there's no way I can do it. So I just gave up. My life had become so bad that I couldn't sleep. I was depressed, I was suicidal, and I remember after 3 days being awake, I went to the Boynton Beach Inlet and it was pouring down raining and I yelled at God, God, what did I ever do to deserve this? Everything in my life was crumbling. And I said, why don't you just kill me? Why don't you just kill me now? And I completely walked away from God. Over the next year, again, I couldn't go to bed sober because my life was just a wreck. I did every kind of drug that I could get my hand on. I started selling drugs. I actually decided to set a meeting with my cousin and one of my friends, Keith, and I said, hey guys, at this meeting, let's go ahead and kill some local drug dealers so we can begin to take over some of the drug activity in our area. That's where my life was headed. That was the trajectory of my life. I had given up completely. And then comes March 4th, 1998. I'm in my room, I'm high, I look at my wall, I see my coaching pictures. Man, that let me down. I see my ex-girlfriend, she let me down. I see basketball trophies, that let me down. I see my friends that, man, they were good friends, but I knew they would sell me out in a minute. I didn't really trust them. And then I looked on the shelf and I see this little Bible. It's the Bible that my mom gave me when I graduated high school that I never read because I wanted to live my own life. And right then and there, I heard a still small voice in my ear, not an audible one, but a still small voice inside that said, "Chris, are you ready? Chris, are you ready yet?" And right then, I knew that that was God. Why did I know that was God? Because way back in chapel, way back in church, I would hear the pastor saying, "Are you ready? Are you ready to give your life to Christ?" And I would always respond, "No," because I had a secret porn addiction, because I had a secret sexual addiction, and I really didn't think I could come to God having this stuff. I felt like I had to get rid of it before I came to Him. You see, I didn't understand the grace of God. I didn't understand the character and the nature of God. Romans 5:8 says this, "But God demonstrated His love, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." I couldn't clean myself up. I couldn't make myself right. I had to go to God with my mess and say, "Oh God, I can't change myself. Would you change me?" So on March 4th, 1998, I said, "God, there's no way I can stop having sex, but if you're God, you're going to have to do this because it's just been always one of the most important things in my life." And so this is the amazing thing. Not only did He get me to the place where I was free from sexual addiction, my wife and I were able to remain pure until our wedding night. And she's the only woman that I've never, ever cheated on. We've been married for 20 years. Not only that, but my secret porn addiction, completely gone. I haven't looked at porn in over 20 years. God completely freed me from that. And it is not a struggle for me. I'm walking in freedom because of what God has done. And so here, listen, I just want to encourage you today. You'll never clean yourself up to make yourself right before God. That's what the cross is. That's what the cross did. Jesus died on the cross to take away your sins, to take away my sins. And because of that, because I put my faith in what He did on the cross, that He took it all away, I'm made new. His Spirit comes inside of me, and we become born again when we put our faith and our trust in Jesus. And so my heart is for you today that you would just respond to Him out of an honesty, out of a sincerity, saying, "Jesus, I may have messed my life up. I may have ruined my life. I may think I'm too far gone for you to save, but I'm asking you that you would do what you did in Chris's life. He ruined his life, and I may have ruined mine. But Jesus, would you come in and would you have your way in my life today? I surrender my life to you. Please, Jesus." And it's the simplicity and the honesty and the sincerity of that prayer that Jesus Christ will come in and He will radically transform your life. If He did it for a wretch like me, He will surely do it for you, because nothing's impossible for God. Do not let the shame, the condemnation, the guilt that you feel over your past stop you from coming to Jesus today. No matter what you're dealing with, it is nothing. It is nothing to Him. He will transform you from the inside out and make you new, just like He did for me. God bless you. Thank you for this time. If you need anything, please contact the link below. We'd love to talk with you. Have a great day.